as you go up the corporate ladder, the more humble you become. Majorly, the majority of the oil needs we import. If you look at the economy right now, the world is slowing down, but India is on a good path. We are on a rising path. India is like a oasis in the desert. एक रेगिस्तान में अगर कोई पानी पीने की जगह है इस समय वो इंडिया है. कोई भी ग्लोबल कंपनी है उसका एक ही गोल है कि इंडिया में आके लेट्स डू बिजनेस. Compounding is the 8th wonder of the world.
Do you think that if someone is not able to go to Goldman Sachs in early part of their career, they can make to the place where you are today? In our next episode of Insights Cafe with Ashmeet Singh, we have Siddharth Sachdeva, who has met each and every benchmark of a finance career trajectory. He started his MBA from a top IIM institute. He worked at Goldman Sachs in investment banking. He worked on the other side, on the government side at Invest India. Now he's managing wealth for top ultra HNIs of India. What we can learn from this podcast is how can we can't commit some of the major financial mistakes, and how can we build a long-term wealth of near to 10 to 15 crores by the age of 40. Let's demystify career trajectory of Siddharth Sachdeva. Had kind of like a connotation with finance. Maybe not that very like have a clarity, but maybe something, maybe you were very good at maths. You thought कि यार मैं maths में बहुत बढ़िया हूँ तो मैं कुछ ऐसा like आगे जाके कुछ मैं number crunching में जाऊँगा. But or maybe you had someone inspirational in your family कि यार ऐसा धंधा बहुत बढ़िया करता है तो मैं तो इसकी तरह बनना है. But something like that, maybe something would have hit you when you were like in your earlier from class 1 to maybe secondary and then higher secondary.
So it's a very weird beginning actually, right? I was at a place where there were a bunch of newspapers. I think it was in late 2007 when I was in 7th standard in my school.
Yeah.
So I just picked up Economic Times like that, and I started to read the Economic Times. And there were many new terms to me, right? Nifty, stock markets, economy, Sensex. And I figured out what is this going on. I came back, I spent some time understanding what it is. There was a time when there used to be a desktop. There was no smartphones at that point in time. At least I did not have a smartphone at that point in time. So I started exploring more, and that's what I figured out. This is an interesting field and I want to know more about it. And that's how it started, gradually understanding the basics on my own, reading newspapers, reading magazines, talking to a few teachers in my school for economics and business. And when I was in 8th standard, that is 2008, my father had a Demat account and I actually started trading or investing. I remember when I made my first trade in a company called Suzlon. It was trading at about 85 or 90 odd level. I just bought one stock of it just to see how it works. And I think from there, I never looked back. Right when I ventured into the markets, though I was very, very naive and immature to understand few things, but then we had a 2008 Lehman crisis.
Yeah.
Very early in my investing.
You were able to understand all the crisis and stuff at that time? Because
not 100% honestly, but I do have some memories of it that I was reading the headlines, what actually happened. I didn't understand at that point in time what a hedge fund does, right? What went wrong with Lehman precisely at that point in time. Of course, later on in life,
something similar is happening in 2025 also. Kind of like. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe we'll get back to it on the further part of the podcast. But so what hit me was that what I can get from is that someone who starts early reading the newspaper kind of like have a basic understanding of what's happening in the global geopolitics, economics, finance, or maybe something related to they can understand about the world, what's happening. Maybe that could be maybe an outcome we can take from this your early childhood. And one thing I wanted to understand is that when you were in your class 10th, so you have to make a choice of your career, like your stream. Basically, either you'll go in science, commerce or humanities. So did you had a kind of like maybe यार मैं science ले लेता हूँ, मैं commerce मतलब मैं science में अच्छा हूँ या मैं maths में अच्छा हूँ तो मैं science या so how was your you had a clarity कि नहीं मेरे को तो commerce ही करनी है?
I was very confused at that point in time. When I was in 10th, it was a myth that if you're scoring good in maths, you should take non-medical, right? There was at that point in time there were 4 choices: medical, non-medical, commerce, and humanities. Initially, I took commerce because that's what I thought my way is. In 1 week, I switched back to non-medical. I took science. I studied physics, chemistry, maths, PCM as they used to call.
Okay.
Till the board result came out, and then suddenly there was a day when I said, no, this is not what I wanted to do. I want to be in finance, and what I'm doing on a daily basis in non-medical is taking me away from something I really like doing. I took a bold call. After the results, I went back to commerce, and that's where, you know, the entire journey started. But yes.
How was your like household at that time? मतलब parents कैसे थे?
Parents were like, you do whatever you want to do. They were always supportive. They never pressurized, do this, do that, right? You know.
And like fact, you had a मतलब जैसे पापा का business था, तो you had a kind of like a inclination कि नहीं मुझे तो business ही करना है. At that point in time, maybe because you were very early in your life, तो या मेरे को था कि नहीं मैं कुछ अपना धंधा खोलूँगा, या मैं CA बनूँगा, या मैं मतलब something like that.
Of course, when you take a commerce in you know class 11th, the first thing that people tell is CA बन जाना, CA कर लो, because that is the only viable option people see at that point in time. Coming from a business family in Ludhiana, I didn't have that much of clarity कि 10 साल बाद आगे जाके क्या करना है. The thought I had, and that always stuck with me, was that I want to explore the field of finance, investments, do a formal education in this, and then see where life brings me.
और आसपास फैमिलीज का मतलब मे बी एट योर मैटरनल साइड और पैटर्नल साइड की कैसे लोग होते थे कि लाइक वेल्थ के बारे में बात करते थे या इन्वेस्टिंग के बारे में बात करते थे, बिकॉज दैट्स लाइक अ वेरी मतलब आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 2008-10 और आज 2020 में मतलब आफ्टर कोविड देयर इज अ काइंड ऑफ लाइक अ चेंज, बट तब कैसी सी कन्वर्सेशंस होती थी, डाइनिंग टेबल कन्वर्सेशंस?
That time our Indian society was not that much financialized, right? Now we see a huge wave of financialization happening. Every dinner table conversation is about stocks, mutual funds, markets, what's happening, you know, right out there. But that point in time, these conversations were not active. And being a parent also, you know, you just want that कि बच्चा पढ़ जाए and जो उसको करना लाइफ में वो करे. There was no you know, no one telling me do this, do that. But at the end of the day, they said whatever you do it with your 100% commitment and leave the result. So the dinner table conversations were never about how will you build a career in finance or wealth or investment banking, because these were very early days. But as I said, they were more about whatever you do with your utmost passion and then leave the rest.
Got it. So tell me about your class 12th journey with commerce, and then how did you get into your bachelor's and then MBA? Let's talk about that.
So of course, when you're in 12th, right, the goal was, you know, getting into the topmost colleges of DU, SRCC, Hansraj, or Delhi University most likely was the goal. So I was pretty sure I want to move to Delhi University. Once the results came out, it was a cut-off, you know, thing that happens in DU. So I moved to Shahid Bhagat Singh College of Commerce, doing my bachelor's in commerce honors, BCom honors as we speak, in South Delhi. So those 3 years, I think, were good. I was lot more into the markets at that point in time. I was actively managing a corpus. Then, you know, my father was kind enough to give me a corpus and manage it. So I was actively managing that, parallelly, you know, talking to my seniors, learning more. But the real, you know, pivot that happened with me was in my MBA, when I went to do my MBA in IIM Raipur. That's where I got a more formal atmosphere. I got to know about CFA, level 1, level 2. You know, that point in time, I had my colleagues around were a lot more serious. I was a lot more serious about looking at different career trajectories in finance, because see, that is where, when you are in an MBA finance, when you're in a good school, would-be school, that's where you get a lot more serious. You have seniors, you have industry connect, and that's how you get to know, okay, there's one field called investment banking, there's wealth, this is how the economies are, this is and the quality of subjects that you study, right? It's not just a finance at a broader level. You break it down, you know, you understand DCF modeling, you learn from Professor Ashwath Damodharan, his books, his videos. That's where the real, you know, that's where the, you know, rubber hits the road, as we say. So that was an inflection point in my journey, courtesy to my professors, courtesy to some of my colleagues who really helped me understand the subject and then took it on from there.
We will discover your journey ahead with respect to that, how you are doing within your career after doing that MBA. Right. But right now there are kind of like many, I would say, narratives that why one would even need an MBA this time. Now the generation is changing. So do you really think that do we need an MBA, or do you think that no, there are like alternative careers, there are alternative paths, or do you think no, this had made my career to this level after that MBA, and maybe from that perspective?
My 2 cents on that. MBA of course was suitable for me because I was into this. Education would never be a thing that one can skip. Master's degree always pays dividends. One might not be able to get a tangible output or think that okay, this is not working in the short run, but as one grows ahead, education is the utmost thing. Of course there's a school of thought that says there's no need, you learn hands-on. I do not subscribe to that. I believe master's degree, a formal education is a must. Secondly, talking about my experience, I say this loud and clear. Till the end of my life, the best 2 years of my life will be my MBA, period. Right? In terms of learning, in terms of fun, in terms of the best, the best friendships we made. There were sports tournament happening at 2 a.m. There was a company coming for placement, and you get to know one evening before, and then suddenly you just do that. I've barely slept for those 2 years of my MBA, but as I said, those 2 years will always be the best 2 years of my life.
Because when I was at LSE, so it's so happening.
Right, but
so happening.
The role of formal education can never be understated. It is the utmost thing, and one should pursue formal education in whatever field one is interested. Right, as I said, in my case it was MBA. I'm not saying MBA is the only thing. In my case, it was MBA. If you're doing a different field of study, the role has to be emphasized enough.
So let's talk about your first job after your MBA, and then we'll also come to the work that you are doing today. So how was your mindset at that time? Because you just came out of your MBA, a new grad, going for first job. What were you working on, and how is that relevant today? And how did it help you in shaping your career? Say for example, maybe you were in, I think I remember that you started with your investment banking career, so with different brands. So I think you do financial modeling, you do you prepare IMs. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll take it further.
So we'll talk more about Goldman, where I spent almost 2 years. Right? Yeah. So getting into Goldman was a dream come true, though one of the biggest investment banks in the world. Day one, I was a bit nervous also that how things would shape up. But see, once you do what you do with your utmost passion, if your work is what you like, I think things are easy, right? There was no day at work that I was forced to work, right? I didn't have any Monday blues, as people say, because you're doing what you're doing, right? I can't talk more about the work because that's something confidential, the kind of deals we worked on and the kind of people we worked on. But the broader messages that I want to give is that people were thoroughly professional. The kind of projects, the kind of deals, assignments we worked on were challenging, and at the same time ensured there was so much to take away from that. I was covering a particular sector, and you name Fortune 500 company in that sector, that was a client of Goldman. There was no questions asked about that. I also had a short stint in London with Goldman. Again, phenomenal people. And one thing I realized when I was in London, as you go up the corporate ladder, the more humble you become. Right? That was one of the learnings. Senior partners, MDs, people who have spent decades in the industry, they're so knowledgeable, yet so humble, yet so approachable. So that is another soft takeaway that I have. And the kind of work ethic these organizations imbibe in you is something that helps one's lifelong.
And how does it shape your career after working at Goldman? Or maybe from a career standpoint, what are the benchmark of the salaries that candidates get? If someone is aspiring to go to Goldman, and what is the kind of eligibility?
See, again, it depends on
what I've heard is that top in India, top IIM, ABC, that was also on an exceptional path that you were able to get to Goldman. And so what was the that spark that helped you to get there?
As I said, I want to make it big from day one. Finance, studying markets, M&A deals was never something I never liked, right? It was always music to my ears. something I really want to emphasize here is the importance of reading newspapers. My entire journey started from there. Once you start reading newspaper, and in my case a financial newspaper, over the years you will realize there is so much of knowledge repository in your brain that even you don't know. So once you work on these deals, let's say I'm working on a particular deal of a particular sector that I was covering, if you have a backdrop, if you have an understanding of the sector, things would come automatically. Right? You would know that, okay, at some point in time, there was another deal that happened in this sector and you have read that. So you start building onto all those dots and connect when you are at work. Secondly, in terms of getting there, see, as every company has its own policy in terms of where they recruit. For financial roles, for investment banking roles, generally they go to India's top campuses. Of course, they have other divisions and other roles also, right? I'm not too familiar with that, but for the part that I worked, Goldman generally goes to the top 20 or 15 B schools of India and recruit people from there.
Okay. And do you think that if someone is not able to go to Goldman Sachs in early part of their career, they can make to the place where you are today in terms of maybe just polishing your career with that basics? Or do you think that no, someone should go through that rigorous training? I'm talking because most part of the people, like many people who belongs to tier 3 and tier 4, they are not able to go there. So that's kind of like a thought that I have.
See, one thing is certain, that every organization is always looking for good and talented people to come on board.
Yeah.
So it's not about when you go, it's about if you are right there. So in your industry, if whatever work you're doing, whatever industry you are in, if you are keeping yourself updated with the latest trends, if you are investing in yourself enough, you can always break through. It's not a shut door that, okay, if I didn't go to a particular institute, you can never make it. And there are people, it works other way around also. Maybe you get a better entry point at an early age of the career, but if you're not investing in yourself enough, you will be at certain point in time left behind.
Yeah.
So the lesson to take is that whatever you do, one has to keep investing in themselves. Take a case of a doctor, right? It's not that once they graduate, once they get the MD or a DM degree, they stop learning, they stop getting more what's happening. It's an ever-evolving field. Finance is an ever-evolving field. Medicine is an ever-evolving field. All the fields. Look at what is happening in technology, AI. I might be one of the best software engineers 10 years back, but if I have not kept pace with incremental changes that have come to the industry, I would be outdated today. Right?
Makes sense.
And let's say if a new technology comes today, I nail it, I thoroughly have an understanding of it. What stops me today to applying to the biggest tech companies in the world? They would happily open the gates to take me in. So it's a question of how much you are investing in yourself, keeping in mind the global uncertainty and the environment and the changing dynamics of your particular industry.
Got it. And what made you to go to Invest India, like after Goldman Sachs?
It was a personal decision, majorly driven through change of city. I wanted to move back to Delhi, which is closer to my home. Goldman was in Bangalore. Plus, I felt that let's try something now beyond investment banking to more of a, as I said, finance was my first love. And the second thing I wanted to explore is more of a quasi-government setup where I can see how the country is run from a financial markets perspective or from a FDI, FII perspective. At a country level, how do the governments, how do the entire, machinery manages the financial part of it, right? What are key decisions? What are the key variables that one has to take care of? So that was another factor in my mind, and I thought, okay, let's take a leap of faith into a totally uncharted territory, because IB and Invest India were totally different fields, right? I learned in Goldman was not at all relevant at the new role, but I said, okay, this is the age when one can be slightly risky but of course it was a calculated risk, and in the hindsight I think it was one of the best decisions I made.
What sort of exposure did you get at Invest India, if you can share?
See, at Invest India, it was a quasi-government setup. It was a Section 8 company under DPIIT, Ministry of Commerce. So initially I was working at the Startup India team. Their startup initiative was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister in January 2016, right? So as part of the Startup India team, I was working within the team. I was looking at some ministry programs that happened, right? If a particular department of the government wanted to do a hackathon, or how could startups basically at a 30,000 feet view, I was trying to marry the need of the government departments with the innovative solutions that startups had. How can we marry them and ensure that, okay, it's a win-win for both of them? The second and the project where I spent more time was the GIFT City project, right? Government of India has set up a GIFT City, IFSCA, which is the regulator of the GIFT City. So the FEMA regulations of country do not apply there. It's sort of a foreign land within the Indian land. So I was working with the IFSCA, which is the regulator of GIFT City, to ensure how more and more financial services company come and establish a base in GIFT City. Now this could be banking, insurance, funds, aircraft leasing. For instance, today more than 50% of aircrafts which are leased, this is done out of Ireland. So the thought was, can India as a country get a pie out of that? We all know that aviation in India is a growing market, right? How again to marry these two and ensure that the country as a whole benefits out of that.
Okay. Then the switch came to like what you're doing currently. So getting into wealth management. So maybe a little bit about that, and then we'll get deeper into like how personal finance, that how if one wants to build a corpus of maybe 8 to 10 crores by the age of 40 with a salary of maybe 1 to 2 lakhs per month, how can we go into that?
So yeah, I was at Nestina for almost 3 years, and then I decided to change gears, move back to wealth. This was again, wealth was something I've always been interested in, and in a way I'm doing right now since my school days, right? So there was no choice. There was no choice dilemma in my mind, right? It was a natural go-to space for me, and that's where I now work for a leading wealth outfit in India. In terms of at the end of the day, you have to understand finance. One is a reality and one is a number, right? We see a lot of videos coming up. We see a lot of people coming up saying, okay, you save X, you will have Y, right? You do this, you have... It's an assumption, but you have to understand that, yes, in finance, the biggest thing to deal with is volatility and uncertainty. But we have to make sure that the assumption that the volatility we are talking about is reasonable. If in my model, I have an unrealistic assumption, right? Take a case, company A, you value company A, I value company A. Right, you give a valuation of let's say 1,000 per share, I give a valuation of 1,500 per share, right? The company is the same for you and me, it doesn't change. What you and me, what is the difference in your and my perspective? It is that maybe one person is looking at the potential or the future cash flows in a different way. We're looking at a growth potential in a different way. So what is wealth? Wealth, if we are investing into Indian equities per se at a 30,000 feet view, you and I might have a different perspective on how as a country, as an economy, we will grow and how the world as a whole will grow, because India is not isolated. We live in a we live in a global world that every country is connected. We have trade with so many countries, and that's how it works. So that is a very important factor and parameter to delve in. Of course, one can say, as I said, you save X, you get Y, but the assumption of X to Y is of paramount importance.
So if someone wants to build a corpus of say 10 crores by the age of 40, what could be some of the basic steps that in a very layman way can one take?
See, again, the first thing is, don't look at what you want to build. Look at what you have in hand right now. If I earn 100 today, look at how much of that 100 I can save. The younger you are, I believe the more you can save. Right? It's always a choice whether I get, whether I spend my money into different experiences, indulgences. I don't say don't do that. But the more you save at an early age, the bigger the compounding effect comes into picture, right? That's why, there's a saying that compounding is the 8th wonder of the world. Till about 3 to 4 years into your investment journey, one doesn't really get the kick of compounding. It's only once you cross 5, 6, 7 years, you figure out that, okay, the magic of compounding has started to happen. It's good to look at the numbers. One should have a goal that I need 10, 15, 20 odd crores when I turn 30, 40, 50, whatever the case may be. But what most of the people miss out is that, what do I have in hand? I don't know what happens 10 years later. I have 100 rupees that I get monthly. What I'm doing with that? Once you get the basic inputs right, the output is a byproduct. So, of course, as I said, we can talk about that, but just look at how you can increase your savings rate in a time when, most people are doing or indulging into different spendings. How can you do that? As a country, if we do that, the better you are.
So while talking about personal finances, I was thinking here, क्या सच में मतलब 40-40 years तक 10-15 करोड़ बन भी सकते हैं.
See, the beauty of finance is सब कुछ परसेंटेज में है. 15% 100 रुपये का 15 रुपये है, 15% 1 करोड़ का 15 लाख है.
ठीक है.
So there is a saying, जितना चीनी डालोगे उतना मीठा आएगा. That's the first thing. If I am investing very less, right, अगर मेरा इन्वेस्टमेंट ही उतना कम है तो I can't reach a certain number. But if you are investing good amount, you can expect the compounding to come in. Right? The India story, if you look at the economy right now, the world is slowing down, but India is on a good path. We are on a rising path. Courtesy, we have demographic with us. We have had a stable government since past 11 years. Right? You talk about any macro in India. हमारा GST collection number, which is a public data, it's out there. We are close to 2 lakhs crore from past 3-4 months. We are right there. The latest inflation number जो आया है वो that's below 3%. That's why the RBI has also done a 50 basis point jumbo cut जो हमने recent policy में देखा. You talk about currency, rupee is stable. You talk about oil, right? We are an oil importing nation. हमारा सारा majorly the majority of the oil needs we import. Because of this small war that happened, now the ceasefire is there. Oil is again back. So you look at India, we are stable. We have such an important and big middle class. आज कोई भी global company है, उसका एक ही goal है कि इंडिया में आके let's do business. Because Indians are the ones who is actually a big market for them. So I have no reason to believe कि हम अगले 10, 20, 30 साल अच्छा नहीं करेंगे. We'll do very well. Both from an economy point of view and both from a markets point of view. In between दोनों में थोड़ा बहुत disconnect रहेगा. The answer is yes. See, my economy and our markets, they are not 100% same. Right? Market में you have the top 500 or top 1000 companies जो majorly dominate करती है, but economy is at large. So in the long run, both will do well. So no questions asked why will not do well.
And say if I don't know about finance and if I have to start my investment journey, keeping a goal in my mind कि यार मुझे by the age of 40, so I am within my 25 to 30 age bracket and I want to reach maybe a 8 to 10 crore corpus by the age of 40. So what should be very basic like investment strategy for me to reach that goal? If I'm earning near to say 1 to 2 lakhs in hand in a month.
See, it's very important to know what are the investment options available. इससे पहले कि मैं एक्चुअली कहीं जाके पैसा लगाऊं, मुझे ये जानना ज़रूरी है मेरे पास ऑप्शंस क्या हैं. आज मुझे गाड़ी खरीदनी है, पहले मैं जाके देखता हूँ कि मेरे बजट में कितनी गाड़ियाँ आ रही हैं.
Okay.
I go, मैं सबको चेक करता हूँ, टेस्ट ड्राइव लेता हूँ, then I take a decision. On one end is an FD, जो मुझे आज शायद 5-5.5-6% देगा, सेफ रिटर्न है. मुझे पता है इफ़ आई इन्वेस्ट दिस एट द एंड ऑफ द पीरियड मुझे इतना मिलेगा. देयर इज़ ज़ीरो वॉलेटिलिटी, देयर इज़ ज़ीरो अनसर्टनिटी. आई नो मैं इतना लगा रहा हूँ और मुझे इतना मिलेगा. On the other side of the spectrum is financial markets. I'm not going to the cryptos of the world because they are unregulated. I don't want to touch about that. But let's talk about financial markets. आज मैंने 100 रुपये लगाया, मुझे नहीं पता वो कल क्या होगा, परसों क्या होगा. मे बी वो 98 हो, मे बी वो 102 हो. I really don't know. But when you take a long-term view, that ups and downs is automatically taken care of. And of course, there are products in between. There is a hybrid fund, there are gold, silver, and many other options available. So, the first thing I have to define is what is my investment horizon. If that is long, again, there is a whole discussion and debate about long term. What actually is long term, right? From a taxation point of view, equity funds have a long term cutoff of 1 year. After 1 year, from a tax point of view, the funds are classified or the gains are classified as long term. Before 1 year, they're classified as short term. But what is long term? That's a discussion and that's a thought
for an investor like me.
See, क्यों बोला जाता है आप लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए इन्वेस्ट कीजिए? अगर मेरा गोल ही 1-2 साल है, मुझे नहीं मालूम 1-2 साल में क्या होगा. मे बी द मार्केट्स गो अप, मे बी द मार्केट्स गो डाउन. ऐसे पीरियड्स मार्केट में आए हैं जब 2-3-4 साल तक मार्केट का रिटर्न नेगेटिव रहा हुआ है. बट इफ माई गोल इज 10 years, why do you say invest for long term or maybe 7, 8, 10 years? Is that in that time ये सब उतार चढ़ाव, all these ups and downs are taken care of. Let's go back few years, right? We've had okay, let's start from 2008. That's when I broadly started my investment journey, right? 2008 we had the global financial crisis. 50% market crash हुआ था, globally there was a huge cry that there was a thought कि पूरा financial universe डूब सकता है. Lehman went burst. Look what happened to the market in 2009. Good returns. Look what happened in early 2010 to 2020. We had an Asian market crisis. We had taper tantrum. In between, हमारा government change हुआ. There was so much happening in the global world. And recent, we all have a recent memory, right? COVID happened. What happened to markets in March 2020? Nifty was at like 7,000-8,000. Today's Nifty is at 25,000. Then what happened after COVID? Russia-Ukraine war. There was a time जब सारा commodity महंगा हो गया था. Crude was again at 100. What is happening in the past 6, 8, 10 months? In 2024, at least 50% of the world's population voted. India, US, and many other countries. 3rd, 4th June last year, market नीचे गया, ऊपर आया. Then we had the US election. Then we had India-Pakistan war, Operation Sindoor. Recently, we had Iran-Israel war. So
there's so uncertainty.
The broad point I'm trying to tell you is that ये सब events हुए पिछले 8, 10, 15 साल में. Even then, look what markets have done. They've done a stellar job. The compounding story is still there. So when we say invest for long term, have at least 5-7 years horizon for equities, because कुछ भी ऊपर नीचे होगा 5 साल में सब normal हो जाएगा. There's a quote.
So extraordinary events will be left out.
Yes, there's a quote by Warren Buffett. I really love that stock market is a device of transferring capital from the impatient to patient. Right. I really love this quote. This has stuck with me for long. See, what happens is, you might think of मुझे 10 साल 20 साल में 20 करोड़ 10 करोड़ whatever चाहिए. That's okay. But as investors, you need to understand the human psychology. Right. As I said, आज से 3 महीने में अगर मार्केट का रिटर्न नेगेटिव है फॉर वॉट एवर रीजन, डू आई हैव द एपेटाइट टू बियर दैट लॉस एंड कीप इन्वेस्टिंग द मनी, कीपिंग माई 10-year लॉन्ग टर्म गोल इन माइंड? इफ येस, ग्रेट. इफ नॉट, it's good, as I said, it's good to focus 10 years down the line, but also important to focus कि how much volatility, how much this उतार चढ़ाव can I bear in the process. There are periods जब मुझे ही अपना portfolio negative दिखा, but I stuck with it because as I said, in the long run सब normalize हो जाएगा.
So you have like a deep conviction with what we are building.
See, deep conviction on Indian economy, Indian growth story. Look at where the economy was. Recent news, I don't want to talk much about it, but there was a recent news that we have overtaken Japan in terms of the GDP number. We are constantly growing. The market cap has grown 4x in the past, NSE market cap as an index. The market caps have grown 4x in the past decade. There's a whole financialization, formalization of the economy happening, right? Look at the pace at which people are moving from rural to urban India. So all this is telling you a big Indian middle class, a big Indian consumption story is right out there, right? And look at our GDP numbers. Q4 GDP, Jan, Feb, March 2025, Q4 FY25, the numbers surprised everyone on upside. There was a consensus belief that we'll grow at 6.8, but we grow to north of 7%. And this has been happening since 2 quarters. कि हमें अपसाइड पे सरप्राइज मिल रहा है. हम सोचते हैं हम एक सर्टन नंबर से ग्रो करेंगे, बट वी आर ग्रोइंग बेटर, वी आर डूइंग बेटर. So there's no reason not to believe that we'll not grow in the long run.
And how should I build my strategy? Like, how much should be mutual funds? You like mutual funds?
Yeah, of course. That is the best instrument for a normal person like me to go and invest, right? Of course, we can
to build that corpus, having that goal in mind.
Yes, I'm not saying. See, again, it's your and my taste. I might take चाय में 2 चम्मच चीनी आप शायद एक लेते होंगे, राइट? कोई ऐसा भी है जो चाय में बिल्कुल चीनी नहीं लेता है. इट्स अबाउट योर रिस्क मैनेजमेंट प्रोसेस. फोकस ऑन द प्रोसेस. यू वांट 100% म्यूचुअल फंड्स, गुड. उसमें क्या है कि आपको एंड ऑफ द डे, म्यूचुअल फंड्स हैव डेली नैव. आपको रोज एंड ऑफ द डे एक नैव दिखे कि दैट आई इन्वेस्ट इन 100, आज उसका वैल्यू ये है. यू बाय स्टॉक्स, यू सी दैट एवरी सेकेंड, ऊपर नीचे होगा. आपको लगता है आपके पास उतना पेशेंस, उतना कन्विक्शन है to wear those drawdowns. Drawdown is, अगर मैंने 100 रुपये लगाया वो आज 90 है तो drawdown is 10. If you have that patience, if you have that conviction, and if you have time to research. The biggest problem right now in most of us is, we see something, we read something. मेरे friend ने stock A में पैसे लगाए, मैंने भी लगा दिए, right? उसने शायद 6 महीना पहले लगाए होंगे, आज वो 30% ऊपर है, मैं टॉप पे आ रहा हूँ. I have no idea what is the revenue of the company. I have no idea what is the profit of the company. I have no idea what is the shareholding structure of the company. इधर उधर से सुना, पैसा लगाया, and the results might not be that great. So if you're investing in stocks, do a proper diligence I think, I mean, my way of doing this is 75-25. About 70-75% of my own investments are in mutual funds and the balance is in stocks. Because stocks, there's a limited universe that I track. If I invest 100 rupees in a company, मैं उसका पूरा annual statement, balance sheet, quarterly presentation, company website पे सब कुछ available होता है, right? I read that, right? If I have invested in a company, मैं देखता हूँ इस quarter में उसका result कैसे आया, is it done better, and more importantly, what is the management guidance on that? Because कोई कंपनी को सबसे अच्छा जानता है तो वो मैनेजमेंट जाती है, और जो एक क्वार्टरली कॉल्स का ट्रांसक्रिप्ट आता है, अगेन इट्स अ पब्लिक डॉक्यूमेंट, उसमें एनालिस्ट गो एंड आस्क क्वेश्चंस टू द मैनेजमेंट एंड द मैनेजमेंट आंसर्स, राइट? दे टेल कि हमारा ये आउटलुक है, अगर हमारा एक प्लांट इस जगह है, गोइंग फॉरवर्ड हमारा केपेक्स कितना होगा. So I believe the number 70-30 or 75-25 broadly has worked well for me. But as I said, this is not sacrosanct. सबका अपना comfort है. There are people जो 100% stocks करते हैं. I've seen the cycles. See, what is more important in the markets is experience. With time, you become a mature investor. So my recommendation is, if you are new, don't go too much into stocks. क्योंकि क्या होगा, अभी उतना जैसे कहते हैं ना हाजमा नहीं है volatility और drawdowns का. तो अगर suddenly कुछ movement ऐसा हुआ, you might be on the wrong side of looking at your demat account.
And one more thing, what are the like, there are some large funds, there are mid caps and there are multi caps. So how do you differentiate between them? So basically, while making your strategy investment?
So basically, SEBI का एक classification है, top 500 companies. Let's focus on the top 500 companies. SEBI ने top 500 को classify किया होगा based on market cap. Now market cap is the current market price into the number of shares. So top 100 companies, जिसमें Reliance, Infosys, TCS, Asian Paints, Airtel, ये सब all big companies come into top 100. 101 to 250. That is 150 companies. They are mid cap companies, and 251 to 500 इनको small cap companies बोलते हैं. Now the thesis is,
जो कि 1 से 5,000 करोड़ की मार्केट कैप में.
मार्केट कैप तो बढ़ गई है बिकॉज ऑफ द रिसेंट रैली वी हैड. आई मीन दे आर स्मॉल कैप कंपनीज जो शायद 20-25 हज़ार की मार्केट कैप में मिल जाएंगी.
ओके.
बट सी, जनरल नोशन ये है कि लार्ज कैप रिलेटिवली स्टेबल रहते हैं बिकॉज वो बड़ी कंपनीज हैं. मिड और स्मॉल जब साइकिल आता है दे डू वेरी वेल, बट देयर आर पीरियड्स जब मिड और स्मॉल 1-2-3 साल भी कुछ खास नहीं करते. Depending upon economy कहाँ है, global money supply, global central banks at what stage they are. Of course, in terms of mutual funds also, SEBI ने एक category कर रखा है. This is all available on SEBI website and many other sources. So a large cap fund, उसमें एक minimum investment, major investment large cap में होगा. Mid cap, small cap fund, about 65% has to be in mid and small cap funds. Flexi cap, that fund can pick any companies out of top 500 companies theoretically. If you are starting, if you are new, it's always good to pick a flexi cap fund, right? Because the fund manager is better equipped to decide मुझे mid cap लेना है, small cap लेना है या large cap लेना है, और as and when the cycle will change, if he or she can adjust that also, right? So if you are new, it's always good to stick with the flexi cap fund. Rest again, as I said, if you are aggressive, आपका risk appetite ज़्यादा है और आप बहुत लंबे समय के लिए इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, मिड एंड स्मॉल कैप फंड्स डू वेल.
गॉट इट. एंड व्हाट अबाउट इंडिया? लाइक व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट लाइक नेक्स्ट 10 years of India?
सी, इंडिया इज़ लाइक अ ओएसिस इन द डेजर्ट. एक रेगिस्तान में अगर कोई पानी पीने की जगह है इस समय वो इंडिया है. लुक एट द रिसेंट IMF फोरकास्ट. IMF ने ग्लोबल ग्रोथ का फोरकास्ट पहले से भी कम कर दिया है. लुक एट US. The US debt is out there. We know US में कितना debt है, and पिछले quarter में, again it's a public data, it was out there in the news, US had a negative growth. The US GDP contracted marginally, though not much. China again is sort of not growing at what it used to grow few years back, right? The point I'm trying to make in a nutshell is that India is the only place abhi. And again, it's a fact that we are the fastest growing one of the bigger economies of the world. Live Mint newspaper का tracker आता है, emerging market tracker. Constantly, India is right there at the top. The reasons for that, as I said, see, look at, just giving you an example here, right? Logistics cost. एक ट्रक अगर कोयम्बटूर से चल के दिल्ली आता था, उसको आज से कुछ साल पहले आने में 10-12 दिन लग जाते थे. What is happening today? आज वो ट्रक 3 से 4 दिन में पहुंच रहा है. So if I'm a business owner, मेरा logistics cost कम हो गया. Second, मेरा inventory कम हो गया. And because of the entire capex, entire infrastructure that has done. This is a very small example, very very layman example.
Yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is, जो as a country हमने recently infrastructure में spend करा है, build up करा है, the demographic dividend that we have, the PLIs that the government has come up with, इन सब का benefit, it's not that हमें 6-8 महीने में दिखता है. इन सब का benefit हमें आने वाले 5 से 10 साल में बहुत clearly दिखेगा. You know, and talk about certain sectors. We talk about defense, right? Not talking about particular companies. I'm talking about defense as an area. आज से कुछ साल पहले क्या किसी ने सुना था कि इंडियन डिफेंस कंपनी एक्सपोर्ट भी कर सकती हैं? बट टुडे इज द टाइम व्हेन इंडियन डिफेंस कंपनीज हैव एक्चुअली स्टार्टेड एक्सपोर्टिंग टू अदर कंट्रीज. लुक एट शिप बिल्डिंग, राइट? इंडिया का still we are at a very nascent and early stage, but 10 years back these conversations were never happening at India in any corner कि ship building में भी हम कुछ कर सकते हैं. We are right up there. So I think for India the trajectory is just one way, is upwards and onwards. I have no questions in my mind that will not do well, and this is the time when all institutions also are coming to India, investing money in India. So
with you working with Gift City, so like that's the channel to come
absolutely.
to India.
So look at aviation, how aviation has changed, right?
Yeah.
The number of Indians that were flying 10 years back versus right now, right? Look at, you know, railways with so many Shatabdis and Vande Bharats, and of course lot more projects, right? And look at the way entire industry, look at what technology has done. Look at healthcare, look at pathology. So many labs are now out there. Look at what's happening in different look at solar, clean energy. So many new companies. There isn't so much of untapped market. That's the whole point I'm trying to address.
And maybe you would also have like discovered this along your journey, and what you have like while dealing with your family members and other in your society. What do you think are the 3 to 5 financial mistakes we usually do that will be kind of like a challenge to build that goal that we have of the corpus that we have to build?
Sure. So I'll talk about a few basics that I've figured out, some from my own experiences. The first thing that I always say is that always look at an investment in terms of the CAGR, compounded annual growth rate, right? So I met someone who was saying, okay, there's a plan that you invest X for 5 years and you get Y after a certain amount of years. I said, what is the CAGR that you're getting, right? What is the percentage return? He said, okay, I don't know that. So the first and the foremost thing to evaluate is whenever I invest some money, I always look at what is the CAGR I get. Case in point, आपने 100 रुपये लगाया, मैंने 100 रुपये लगाया. आपका 100 रुपये 200 3 साल में हुआ, मेरा 100 200 5 साल में हुआ. ऑप्टिकली आपको भी 100% रिटर्न आया, मुझे भी 100% रिटर्न आया. आपका भी डबल हुआ, मेरा भी डबल हुआ. बट आपका 3 साल में हुआ, मेरा 5 साल में हुआ. डिफरेंस है दोनों में. So this is where CAGR comes into picture, right? My CAGR would be somewhere close to, I doubled in 5 years, I would be close to 15, 16, right? You doubled in 3 years, you will be north of 25, 30, right? This is the difference. That's one. Second, it's always important to, in my opinion, this is my opinion, that have insurance and investment separate, right? Have a term plan. If you're working, if you're earning, have a term plan, have health insurance. Investments को pure investments में रखिए. There is no need to club off these two, right? Right. This is again a learning that I learned the hard way. And the third thing, as I say, time in the market is more important than timing the market, right? This is a very common use phrase, but जब तक इंसान इसको experience नहीं करता, शायद वो समझ नहीं पाता. आप invest कर रहे हैं, that's okay, आप कम करिए. But उतार चढ़ाव मार्केट के आएंगे, you have to stick to it. You have to stick to your investment philosophy. Do not get lured away by what others say. As I said, आपने एक स्टॉक ए लिया, हो सकता है आपने 6 महीने पहले लिया हो, आपका पैसा बन गया उस टाइम पे. मैंने आज इतनी हाई वैल्यूएशन पे एंटर किया, आई हैव नो आइडिया व्हाट द कंपनी डज, एंड देन आई विल बी डिसअपॉइंटेड. सो दैट्स ओके टू स्टार्ट स्मॉल, बट स्टार्ट विद योर कन्विक्शन एंड रीड. Nobody will do this for you. That's okay, you might be doing something else. You might be a doctor, you might be a lawyer. You have a profession. But with every day, with every week, try to understand basics of investing. Because nobody else will do. To an extent, इंश्योर कि आप एट द एंड ऑफ अ सर्टन टाइम पीरियड पहले से बेटर इन्वेस्टर बने हैं. नोबडी expect you to become a professional in this, but learning has to be thoroughly there, and more importantly, know about yourself. If I don't know how patient or impatient I am, if I don't know आज मैंने 100 लगाया वो 80 होगा, मुझे मेरे माइग्रेन की गोली खानी पड़ेगी, there's no point of doing that, right? You have to know yourself first and then marry your investments to A, time horizon, B, your risk appetite. That is most important.
So building your conviction with the investment strategy that you have.
Right. And there is no shortcut to money making. कुछ होता ना trust me तो मेरे और आपके लिए बचता ही ना. लोग बना के निकल चुके होते हैं, right? There is no shortcut to money making. Right. Another important aspect I want to touch is how much return one can expect.
Yeah.
Right.
There are different averages in the market, maybe 12 से 13%, 15 से 16%.
आप कोई भी म्यूचुअल फंड का रिटर्न उठा के देखो आज की डेट में, पिछले एक साल में 10-12 होगा. बट अगर हम ये एक साल पीछे चले जाएं, लेट्स से हम जून 2024 में बैठे हैं और पिछले 1-2 साल का रिटर्न उठाएं, वो 25-30% पे होगा. दिस इज़ नॉट अ नॉर्मल रिटर्न. सी अगेन दिस इज़ अ डिस्कशन दैट लॉट ऑफ पीपल डू. व्हाट इज़ अ गुड रिटर्न? वी लिव इन इकोनॉमी इंडिया. इकोनॉमी का रियल ग्रोथ रेट हमारा लगभग 6 से 7% के आसपास है एज वी स्पीक. On top of it, we have inflation. So nominal growth rate मेरा as we speak would be about between 10 to 12%. Right? Historically, inflation हमारी ज़्यादा हुआ करती थी. There was a time जब 6-7-8% inflation हुआ करती थी. आज the goal is 4% plus minus 2%. Right? This is a broad indicator at which nominally our economy will grow. On top of it, आप smart अच्छी investing कर रहे हैं, you are sticking to the long term, you will get about 2 to 3% alpha over that. But सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट बात जो याद रखने की है कि जैसे जैसे इकोनॉमीज मैच्योर होती हैं, दीज रिटर्न्स वुड गो डाउन. राइट. एक छोटी इकोनॉमी ज़्यादा पेस पे ग्रो करेगी, बट कंपेयर इंडिया वर्सेस यूएस. राइट. यूएस ग्रोथ रेट वहाँ पे 6-7% रियल जीडीपी ग्रोथ रेट वी डोंट हेयर बिकॉज दैट्स अ बिग इकोनॉमी, दैट्स रिलेटिवली मैच्योर्ड इकोनॉमी. सो इन द लॉन्ग रन देयर इज नो नंबर दैट आई कैन प्रेडिक्ट 15, 20, 18, बट फॉर्मूला यही चलेगा. Real in growth rate plus inflation plus maybe 2 to 3 or 4% alpha जो आप smartly you believe कि आप अच्छे businesses buy कर रहे हो जो nominal GDP से 2-3-4% ज़्यादा grow करेंगे. That's the formula. अब real GDP और inflation numbers as we mature trend wise will go down, but there could be in between windows जहाँ ये ऊपर नीचे होंगे.
While managing our investments, do you really think that do we need a financial advisor?
See, let's put it another way. इसको अलग तरीके से सोचते हैं. अगर आज मुझे कोई सर्जरी करवानी है, do I need a doctor? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
मुझे सर दर्द है, आप मुझे कोई पैरासीटामोल दे सकते हैं, बट अगर कुछ कॉम्प्लेक्स है, we need a surgeon. Who is a surgeon? जिसने 8-10 साल ये पढ़ाई करी है और जिसके पास एक्सपीरियंस है. 2 चीज़ें, एजुकेशन और एक्सपीरियंस. इफ़ आई एम अ बिग कंपनी, इफ़ आई एम हैव अ बिग बिजनेस, मुझे टैक्सेशन मैटर में कौन एडवाइस दे सकता है? आई नीड अ सीए, अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट. कोई और नहीं दे सकता. सिमिलरली व्हेन यू आर स्टार्टिंग, ठीक है आप थोड़ा बहुत खुद पढ़ समझ के कर सकते हैं, बट एज यू ग्रो एक फाइनेंशियल एडवाइज़र की ज़रूरत बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. नॉट ओनली फ्रॉम द पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू कि वो क्या आपको सजेस्ट करे, बट ऑल्सो टू हैव अ रिस्क प्रोसेस इन प्लेस. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है. आई हैव मेट लॉट ऑफ पीपल इन द पास्ट. फाइनेंशियल एडवाइस कौन दे रहा है? वो जी एक कोई है हमारा दे रहा है जी, वो साइड बिजनेस करता है. समबडी हु इज़ नॉट क्वालिफाइड टू डू अ फाइनेंशियल एडवाइस, वो कर रहा है, हमारा पुराना रिलेशन है. इन वन केस समबडी हु इज़ सेलिंग LIC पॉलिसीज. राइट. इफ़ ही इज़ अ क्वालिफाइड पर्सन, उसने पढ़ाई करी है, उसको एक्सपीरियंस है, मार्केट का अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, फेयर. बट मेजरली केसेस में ऐसा मैंने ऑब्जर्व करा है कि पीपल डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड द इम्पॉर्टेंस ऑफ कि हमें जो फाइनेंशियल एडवाइस दे रहा है उसका बैकग्राउंड क्या है. केस इन पॉइंट, आई स्पीकिंग टू समवन, अ 50,000 SIP इफ़ डन फॉर 25 years, अगर 1% का भी उसमें ऊपर नीचे होता है तो वो 1.5 करोड़ का फ़र्क डाल देता है. 1.5 करोड़. राइट. दैट्स द नंबर. और 12 और 14% सुनने में लगता है 2% का ही फ़र्क है, बट वो 2% का फ़र्क 10, 20, 30 साल में बहुत बड़ा फ़र्क बन जाएगा. सो as you grow up, as you scale, you definitely need a financial advisor.
a small question just came in my mind. Do you think that someone should buy a house at by taking a loan at the age, between the age of 25 to 30? What's your thought about that?
See, again, there's no yes or no. इसका I can't say लो या ना लो.
Cost benefit analysis.
It depends on आपको ज़रूरत है आप definitely लो. I am not a believer of कि आप सारी उम्र रेंट पे रहो, घर लो ही मत. The point to be noted, important thing is कि आपका जो EMI जा रहा है वो 50% सैलरी से ऊपर नहीं होना चाहिए. A good number is 40%, but 50% से ऊपर तो नहीं होना चाहिए. See, आज मुझे अगर अच्छे रेट पे मेरा सिबिल अच्छा है, मुझे अच्छे रेट पे लोन मिल रहा है, हाउसिंग लोन, मुझे उसका टैक्स डिडक्शन भी मिलता है अंडर द ओल्ड रेजीम, और अगर मेरा EMI मैं अपनी सैलरी से अफोर्ड कर सकता हूँ, द प्रॉपर्टी इज़ गुड, लेना चाहिए. सो इट्स नॉट अ येस और नो, it's a question of how much leverage in terms of the EMI I am taking and I have to service that. See, एक बहुत बड़ा concept है. One is net worth and one is liquidity, solvency, right? ठीक है, घर मेरे नाम पे है, मेरी net worth पॉजिटिव है. आज अगर मैंने 2 करोड़ का घर लिया, उसमें 1 करोड़ का लोन लिया, ऑन पेपर अगर मैं देखूँ 2 करोड़ का घर मेरा है, उसमें से 1 करोड़ बैंक का है एज वी स्पीक आज की तारीख में, और 1 करोड़ मेरा है. पर लिक्विडिटी इज़ अ डिफरेंट मैकेनिज्म. मुझे अगले महीने उसकी EMI सर्व करनी है. अगर वो पैसा नहीं हुआ मेरे पास तो नेटवर्थ मेरी पॉजिटिव होगी, बट मैं लिक्विडिटी नहीं दे पाऊँगा. एंड दिस इज़ वेयर लॉट ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स एंड लॉट ऑफ कंपनीज ऑल्सो फॉल्टर. प्रॉफिट है लेकिन कैश फ्लो नहीं है. दैट्स वाई दे से कैश इज़ द किंग. तो अगर आप EMI सर्विस कर सकते हो फ्रॉम योर सैलरी और आपको वहीं रहना है, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए मुझे आज मैंने घर लिया और 2 साल में मुझे कहीं और जाने का प्लान हो, देन इट बिकम्स अ हैसल. बट इफ यू कैन अफोर्ड इट, यू शुड बाय इट.
What are your views on do-it-yourself investments?
See, again, it's not bad to start with. आज if I am fresh out of college, मैं अपने कॉलेज से निकला हूँ, मेरी फर्स्ट सैलरी आई है, मैं खुद ही करूँगा. मैं कुछ यूट्यूब पे जाके देखूँगा, कुछ बेसिक समझूंगा. एज्यूमिंग मैं फाइनेंशियल इंडस्ट्री से नहीं हूँ, बिल्कुल अनरिलेटेड इंडस्ट्री से हूँ, मैं कुछ समझूंगा और मैं धीरे धीरे इन्वेस्टमेंट शुरू करूँगा. इट्स गुड टू स्टार्ट विद. बट एक चीज़ जाननी बहुत ज़रूरी है, जितने भी डू इट योरसेल्फ पोर्टल्स हैं जहाँ पे हम कुछ बाय सेल कर सकते हैं, म्यूचुअल फंड्स या कोई भी फाइनेंशियल इंस्ट्रूमेंट, दैट इज़ लाइक रियर व्यू ड्राइविंग, राइट? वो आपको ये दिखाएगा पिछले 3 साल में इस फंड ने इतना डिलीवर किया एंड दिस इज़ अ टॉप परफॉर्मिंग फंड हिस्टोरिकली. वो इट्स लाइक पीछे देख के गाड़ी चलाना. गाड़ी हम पीछे देख के नहीं चलाते. दैट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट, रिटर्न इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट, बट उसके बियॉन्ड और भी चीज़ें इंपॉर्टेंट है. और ज़रूरी नहीं है कि जिस फंड ने पिछले 3 साल में किया वो आने वाले टाइम में भी अच्छा करे. राइट. अगर पिछले 3 साल में
हिस्ट्री इज नेवर सर्व्ड इन रिटर्न्स.
हिस्ट्री नेवर रिपीट्स, इट्स ऑलवेज राइम्स. दैट्स ऑल. दैट्स yes, there is mean reversion happens mathematically and in financial markets also. Do it yourself, good to start with, but as I said, जैसे जैसे आपका कॉर्पस बढ़ रहा है, more than new investment ideas, आपको एक रिस्क मैनेजमेंट प्रोसेस चाहिए जो एक प्रोफेशनल ही ला सकता है. एंड another very important role जो एक अच्छा फाइनेंशियल एडवाइज़र पोर्टफोलियो में लाता है वो है बिहेवियर मैनेजमेंट. आज अगर दुनिया में कुछ एक्स्ट्रॉर्डनरी इवेंट हुआ, मार्केट ने नी जर्क रिएक्शन दिया, ही और शी हैज़ द एक्सपीरियंस. उसने पुराने वो साइकिल्स देखे हैं, उसने देखा है 2008 में क्या हुआ, 2014 में इमर्जिंग एशियन मार्केट का जब करेंसी क्राइसिस हुआ था, टेपर टेंट्रम हुआ था, उसने वो साइकिल देखा है, उसको पता है ये शॉर्ट टर्म है, राइट? अब जैसे टैरिफ का बहुत देयर वाज होल टॉक अबाउट टैरिफ. अगर आप डेटा को जाके देखो, हमारा US से जो ट्रेड है दैट इज़ जस्ट 2% ऑफ आवर GDP. इवन इफ इंडिया पे कोई बहुत बड़ा टैरिफ लगता है, इवन इफ, राइट, दिस इज़ अ वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस एज वी स्पीक, हमारा GDP मेजरली कंजम्पशन ड्रिवन GDP है. दैट्स इंडियन कंज्यूम्स. ये चीज़ें, ये फैक्ट्स, ये इमोशनल मैनेजमेंट एक स्टेज पे जब पोर्टफोलियो बड़ा हो जाता है, यू नीड समवन टू एंकर यू.
एंड देयर कम्स इन द प्ले ऑफ FI and DIIs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like the DIIs manages the net, like the negative inflow that's not coming from the FI.
See, अभी आज की डेट में we have a very strong mutual fund inflow. So it's like DI, FI are both buying into Indian markets, right? कोई भी ट्रांजैक्शन, कोई भी ट्रेड होता है, एक बायर है, एक सेलर है, राइट? बहुत सारा न्यूज़ में ये आ रहा था FI बाइज नहीं कर रहे, FI बाय नहीं कर रहे. अगेन, जो मार्केट में है, ही और शी अंडरस्टैंड्स FI बाय नहीं कर रहे. अगर इंडिया नहीं बाय कर रहे, क्यों नहीं बाय कर रहे? इज इट दे आर लीविंग ऑल द इमर्जिंग मार्केट्स? इज इट बिकॉज ऑफ सम रीज़न? फॉर इंस्टेंस अगर हम पीछे जब देखें पिछले साल दिसंबर, नवंबर एंड जनवरी 2025, सडनली डॉलर इंडेक्स बहुत बढ़ गया था. सो जब भी डॉलर स्ट्रांग होता है, इमर्जिंग मार्केट से फ्लो निकल के डेवलप्ड मार्केट्स में जाता है. दैट्स अ फिनोमिना जो हमेशा हुआ है. समबडी जिसको ये चीज़ों की समझ है वही आपको ये बता पाएगा. सो एज आई सेड, आई स्ट्रांगली बिलीव गोइंग फॉरवर्ड, जैसे एक कोई मेडिकल चीज़ों को सॉर्ट करने के लिए भी नीड अ डॉक्टर, राइट? यू हैव 5-6 years ऑफ MBBS, देन अ DM डिग्री और MS डिग्री. 8-10 साल पढ़ने के बाद, इतना एक्सपीरियंस करने के बाद एक अच्छा सर्जन, एक अच्छा डॉक्टर बनता है, एंड ही और शी कैन हैंडल कॉम्प्लेक्स केसेस. सिमिलरली फॉर अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, फॉर अ कंपनी सेक्रेटरी, आई स्ट्रांगली बिलीव गोइंग फॉरवर्ड एक अच्छे कॉर्पस पे आपको एक फाइनेंशियल एडवाइज़र चाहिए जो इन सब चीज़ों की समझ रख के आपको सही एडवाइस दे पाए.
Definitely. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Pleasure is all mine.
Yeah, I think it was a great podcast. So all the best for you.
Thank you so much. Truly a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.